All right, welcome everyone to PrepHuddleLIVE on StriveSports.com. Tried a little something different there. Tony wanted to show a little bit of Hoosiers action before our show here. Get that taken off. Sorry about that. Not the greatest transition, but we appreciate you guys tuning in here. Feels like we just had a show, and we did. We did a special edition show on Friday night after the girls' district final game, and had Coach Kern of the York Dukes, Lady Dukes, on after they clinched their spot at state, and then Monica Smith of Sutton Phillies on as well, and Terry Douglas out of Grand Island as well to talk about some games. So been a crazy weekend and a action-packed week. We just wrapped up boys action, Tony, and seedings came out today. We're going to talk a lot about girls today and talk boys next week. But your thoughts just on last couple days, and as we're on the eve of the girls' state tournament tomorrow, we'll be down there.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year, as they say. I think, and the NSA does, I think, such a really good job of putting on a great state tournament, and the kids will get a Pinnacle Bank Arena getting added in last year, and I've heard the atmosphere at the Devaney Center, since it's been kind of reconfigured, is really good. I haven't actually got to see a game there, but we'll talk to Coach Kern. They'll be there tomorrow night, so that'll be kind of exciting that they'll get to play there, and then we'll have boys. Boys State starts up next week, and we'll be busier than heck down in the D classes. I know we've got I think 5 schools out of the 16 in Class D are Strive schools, and really happy for the Millard West boys who come in and win a district championship there, beating Lincoln Southeast last night. So exciting for them to get into A, and we'll have 6 teams that we'll be following down there, and then we'll have our teams that we'll be covering on the girls tomorrow, and we'll get to preview those tonight. So it should be fun, and you're exactly right. We will be busy, and it'll be a fun busy. So
that's right. So just to give everyone a little bit of a layout for tonight's show, we've got Coach Kern of the York Dukes lined up again to be on the show to kind of talk about their week, and as they prepare to head down to Lincoln to the Devaney Sports Center tomorrow night. In Class B, they'll play at 7 o'clock and take on the number 6 seeded Elkhorn Antlers. And so we'll talk to him a little bit, see how practice has been going this week, and then we will also be talking with Nathan. Is it Behlke, I believe?
Behlke.
Yeah, yep. Behlke. We did a feature on them in our Rewind a couple weeks back. They're having an unbelievable season, 26-0, and he'll be joining us out in the Mountain Time Zone, as they're probably headed down here already.
Yeah, I think they're in Lincoln already.
Okay.
We're getting into town. He thought they'd probably be getting ready to eat some dinner about this time. So
he's in Central Time Zone.
Be interesting to talk to them. Yeah. Yep.
So they are 26-0. They'll be taking on Humphrey St. Francis tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and we'll get into the details, but excited to have him on the show to kind of talk about that game, and we'll be broadcasting that live on the Dundee County Stratton Strive TV page, and we've got links and got a page built that we'll be posting after the show with kind of a breakdown of all of our Strive schools, all 7 of them that we'll preview tonight. And we're going to go ahead and get into Class A, I believe, Tony, and then we'll take a break, get Coach Kern on the line, and we'll just head down the list. As always, we're presented by Cornerstone Bank. Really appreciate their support. You can find them online at cornerstoneconnect.com. Also sponsored by Frontrunner Fab out of Fullerton. If your school is in need of some new seating or anything like that, give those guys a call, and we'll have their ad up when we have our callers call in. So I'll let you take it from there, Tony, and get things started, and then we'll get Coach Kern on the line here in a bit.
Sounds good. Yeah, to start in Class A, just to briefly kind of give the followers a brief overview of Millard West, who's a Strive school. They are in as the lone wild card in Class A. They lost their first-round district game to Omaha North, who was then defeated by Norfolk in the district final, and they advanced in a wild card. They were the 4th seed heading into district play, and will enter the state tournament as the 6th seed based on the new point standing. So they'll play Omaha West Side, who is the 3rd seed, and really it's been an up and down season for Coach Kruger Kruger and his girls. I watched them play Grand Island in early January when they were out here, and I would tell you on that night they probably could have beat anybody in the state. I mean, they were shooting the ball well, got up and down the floor really well, played a nice rotation of about 7 to 8 girls, and they've just had the injury bug hit them. Their best player, Marissa Lowe, is a 13.3 points per game average, but she missed, I think Coach Kruger said she missed the first 3 games. And then she went down again at the end of the year, the second to last regular season game, where they defeated Fremont 41-40. She went down with a knee injury again, and she's been basically sidelined for about the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. And Coach Kruger, which is fine with me, he was pretty non-committal on her status when we talked on Monday. He called her a day-to-day decision, and I would suspect, given the severity of that injury, he's probably being pretty frank with us. She's coming off an ACL that was in the summer, and so to hurt that knee they're going to want to be very cautionary with that. Marissa's signed to play at Rockhurst in Kansas City Division II school, and she's a legitimate player. She's a 6-foot wing who can shoot the three. So I mean, she's a really good player. And Millard West, they are the last team actually to beat Westside. So Westside has won, I think I counted 12 in a row since a 71-62 win for Millard West, probably around the 10th to 15th of January. It was somewhere in that neighborhood. So I think this will be a good game if Millard West is fully healthy. If you look into Mike Patterson's predictions from the Omaha World Herald, he does have Westside winning, and I think you probably couldn't really blame him for that. But it'll be interesting to see how Millard West responds here. The one thing I think they've got going for them is Mark Kruger's been there and done that in girls basketball in Class A. He was a longtime head coach over at Bellevue West. They actually beat Millard West in the state semifinals last year, and this is his first year over at Millard West. So he's familiar with kind of that state tournament feel, how to get the most out of his girls. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a game that Millard West won. They're going to lean on Lauren Rongish, who's a freshman. She's averaging 7.2 points a game. She leads the team in assists. And then inside, they've got really nice play from Casey German, who's a 6'2 senior. She averages right at 8 points. It's almost 6 rebounds. Is a junior, and she's 5'10 inside, and she's averaging just over 9 points and just over 8 rebounds, so basically double there. And then if they can have Lowe healthy and she could give them 12, 10 to 15 points, I mean, that'd just be a bonus. And then kind of lately here in the season, they've got good play from Logan Black, who's a 5'9 sophomore. She had 16 points against Omaha North in their last game. And Jalen Bosak, who's a 5'8 junior, is averaging just over 4 points and about 3 rebounds. So they've got very capable players. They also have Maddie Severson down with an injury late in the year as well. She's a senior point guard for them, and she's averaging about 4.5 points a game. If she's fully healthy, Coach Kruger said it's been good to have her have some rest. She played against Omaha North, but was not fully healthy. So will be interesting to see how many girls they have and how healthy they are tomorrow night. I'll be at that game at 7:00, Pinnacle Bank Arena. So it'll be interesting to watch. I think it could probably be. I think it could probably be the best game in A tomorrow. Just in looking at things, I think it'll be a good game. You kind of run through the bracket there on the top half,
and I'm pulling it up so people can see it.
Sure.
So
yeah. Even without Ibis, you'd expect that Omaha Benson would be the team to come out of that side. They haven't slowed down without her, and she's probably the second best player in the state. The two best players in the state are both injured, which is too bad, and Fremont's Jessica Shepard as well. So I expect Omaha Benson on that side of the bracket to be the team that win, and then of course Lincoln Northeast has obviously played really well on the other side of that bracket. So it'll be interesting there to see who comes out of that side. I think you could see a Lincoln Northeast, a West Side, or a Millard West advance to the finals. So I'd expect, I think it's the 4 or 5 game. I'm not looking at it right now, but I think you have Bellevue West, South Sioux City in that game.
Yep.
And I think I'd expect Bellevue West probably to win that game. So I would, if I were picking or handicapping the field, I'd not bet against Omaha Benson. I'd take them to repeat as Class A champions. But I think any of the 3 teams on the other side in Millard West, in Omaha West Side, or in Lincoln Northeast could give them a pretty good game just because of the injury factor. But Benson has done nothing to prove that the Ibis injury has been a big deal for him. So should be a really good Class A field, and I expect to be some good games in that bracket. So
all right. Well, let's go ahead and we're about 7:43. We'll give Coach Kern of the York Dukes a call here, and we'll chat with him a little bit and then preview Class B and just keep running down the line. We appreciate you tuning in here to Prep Huddle Live. As always, you can use the hashtag PrepHuddleLIve down there, getting some action on Twitter from the York Dukes, getting some retweets. Appreciate that. So hopefully we'll get him on the line and take a quick break here from Cornerstone Bank and talk with Coach Kern. You're watching Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here. Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
All right, we're back here after a quick break. You're watching Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com, and we've got Coach Matt Kern of the York Dukes on the line with us. And how's it going, Coach? How's your week been? And you're on the eve of the first round game tomorrow night.
Week's been good. Girls are locked in, had a good week of practice. We just got done with our team dinner, and I'll tell you what, York Country Club up there on the hill, we had some steaks. It was some good stuff. I like this winning. I like these meals, so we're going to keep doing that.
Good deal.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, talk to us about how practice has been this week and what you guys have kind of been focused on leading into the rematch with Elkhorn that you'll have tomorrow night at the Devaney Center.
Yeah, it's been a good practice. I mean, the excitement of coming off of a district title carries you into a week, that's for sure. And I think the girls are ready to play. You can just sense it with their mentality and their body language that they want to get out there and play the game. Practicing is fine. I don't think that's the favorite thing of kids, though. Coaches kind of like that a little more than the players. But it's been a good week. We're preparing for a lot of different things. You try to get it all in that you want without going overboard. And I feel like we've seen a lot of things that obviously that they've done throughout the year, and playing them once gives you a nice idea of what you want to do.
I guess if you could get specifically into maybe some players that concern you for Elkhorn and what they like to do and what you guys are going to have to be really good at tomorrow night.
Well, Elkhorn's they're a very good team. They're well coached. They're Alicia Mountain. That's where it all starts. The point guard, number 3. If you saw the first game against us, she had 18 points and just took it to us. We didn't defend her very well, so we've got to make an adjustment there and play her better. She's just so fast. And I want to say though, we've been seeing a lot of quick guards lately in the Zabernicki girl and Schultz girl from Stewart. Those are just great, talented players as well. So we've had good practice playing against dribble drive attack point guards like that. The Edict girl, the post, she's a special player. Both seniors, both college type players. They're they're pretty fun to watch. They're a very talented group, and they've got a great supporting cast around. They got a freshman post that's pretty scary. He's going to be an elite player in the Class B ranks in a couple of years. So yeah, it's you want to pinpoint certain ones, and you want to really make sure that they don't beat you, but you also realize that there's 3 other girls in the court, and they're just as good of players too. There's a reason why they're playing in the state tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, and Elkhorn might feel the same way. I'm looking at the rankings in Class B right now, and there's obviously 2 teams in front of both you and Elkhorn that didn't even make the state tournament. So you sometimes get the feeling that maybe they think the state championship maybe has been contested already. Is the idea of you guys maybe having to prove yourself, has that been talked about, or is that something you really don't even worry about?
Don't worry about it much, to be honest with you. Winning the district title is big. That makes us feel that you hate to back in with a wild card. And with that being said, Granite Northwest won the state title a couple years ago with a wild card, so it can happen. But I just felt real confident when we winning that district title. I think the girls feel confident. It makes everybody just feel like they can they did something special, and you do, and you got to cut down those nets. Yeah, Class B, and I've talked a bunch, Tony, about how the matchups work with districts, and it's tough, and it's been debated at the NSA level. But how exciting for a team like Scotts Bluff to win their district and get to come down, and that's a pretty exciting thing. And then obviously, Hastings hasn't been there in forever, and they come out of that district. That's a good team, and they had us on the ropes up there earlier this year. So it's exciting, and you wish you could see the Waverlys of the world get in, because that's a talented group. There's a few other teams, obviously, I'm forgetting, but it's the way we have it. We all know since day one, and you just got to do the best you can to get that district title or find a way to get the wild card.
Yep. And I guess talk about the opportunity. I know last year I think you guys were maybe in the morning session and you played at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and this year you get the opportunity to be in the revamped Sports Center. Is there anything you prepare for there differently with the venue and things of that nature? How do you guys attack that playing in a bigger venue like that? We're lucky actually. We actually played Devaney last year.
Oh yeah.
We played the 840. Yeah, we played the 845 game, and it's going to be very eerily similar, I suppose, because we played the 845 game and had blue uniforms, sat on that same bench. So we should be in the same exact spots. A lot of similarities, which I personally like. I think the girls will like. We talked about it. We talked about atmosphere. We already talked about how Elkhorn hasn't been in that atmosphere with this with these group of seniors. So we think that can be an advantage. But when it all comes down to it, you got to go play the game after the initial surge of energy and how you can't hear anything, which is so cool. We practice a lot with music. We've done that for years, and we just try to be loud. It's funny because the tennis team was actually practicing on our deck in the New York gym the other day, screaming and yelling while we're trying to practice. And I'm thinking, hey, that works out real well.
It's perfect.
We couldn't hear. It was pretty funny. So we actually encouraged them to continue it, and it was nice.
Coach, talk about how much fun this team has been to coach this year. I know it's really weird to look at a Class B roster that has no 12s on it, and there you are, 21-4 in state, and gosh, I see 5 freshmen on your roster. This has to have been a really rewarding experience for you and your staff this year to be with these girls.
Absolutely, it's an absolute honor to coach these kids, and I've learned probably more from them than they've learned from me. I just every day it's something different, and they're so talented. They don't even have a clue how good they can be yet, and it's coming, and they're figuring it out. But it's and that's the thing. Starting the season, no seniors. We didn't know. We knew we could be good, but we didn't know if it happened right away, and it did. It just happened out of the gate. We won some games big, which we didn't realize could happen with this group. But it's about the time you put in. They put a lot of time in, a lot of shooting, a lot of playing in the off season. And when you have kids that buy in to do that, we've got great parents, and we've got great club teams and parent teams and whatnot that are just playing so much ball. But it's been so much fun, and we don't want it to end anytime too soon. We still hope to get 3 more, obviously, starting with Elkhorn. But and we talked, and I've told you this before, we talked a lot about the legacy they've left, and they're going to leave, and they have the unique opportunity, as these juniors do, to be leaders on a team for 2 years. And all the teams I've ever seen and been on, the seniors just kind of have the swagger, and they kind of have that, I'm the leader, I'm the one around the show, and it kind of is dictated by that. Well, these juniors get to do it for 2, and they have bought into that, and they are just great leaders, and they're just learning how to be just mature players on the court. It's been cool.
Well, Coach, as a guy who has played in the state tournament, you know exactly what they're going through tonight. So I hope you get a good night's sleep. I hope the day goes fast tomorrow, and 7:45 comes quick. And we wish you and the Dukes the best, and hopefully 3 more games to play.
Amen to that, my man. And guys, we appreciate the support you guys have for high school athletics. You guys do an amazing job, and it's a lot of fun to see your podcasts or video casts and everything. So
sweet.
Keep it up. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach Kern. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
All right. Well, and we will wanted to also mention we'll be broadcasting that game. The student broadcast crew of Jason Goystein and David Jenwright will be announcing that game tomorrow night. You can listen to it on the York Strive channel. That's a 7 o'clock tip at Devaney. As we mentioned, York with the number 3 seed will be taking on Elkhorn, the number 6 seed, and should be a good game. And looking forward to that. They're also going to have some UNL students that have been helping out with the broadcasts on that as well. And Kellan, Heavican, and Tommy, who helped out at the Central Conference tournament as well. So should be a fun game, and they've been enjoying helping the Dukes out on their audio broadcast this postseason. So
yeah, Taylor, I should interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
We'd probably be remiss. We always say if you went to a Strive school, you're always a Strive alum, even if it was way before. So Elkhorn's coach Jennifer Raggi, the former Jennifer Houchin from Bruning, she was just a fantastic basketball player down there, and on, I believe, a couple state championship teams in the late 80s, early 90s. She's done a great job at Elkhorn. She's been the coach there for a while, so fun to see.
All right. Well, Tony, I've got the Class B bracket. Do you want to go ahead and run through that real quick, the seedings, and I'll pull up the Class C1, and we'll just keep running down the list here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anybody on the top half of that bracket would probably pick Lincoln Pius. They've been really good all year. Core of 4 seniors led by Maddie Simon, who's a Nebraska commit, and they lost to Grand Island Northwest in the state finals last year. I think most people would pick Lincoln Pius to come off that side of the bracket. Now, if you look in the rankings, of course, Mike Patterson has Elkhorn South 2nd and Omaha Groves 3rd, and they actually, I think, play in that 4-5 game, if I'm not mistaken. So the winner of that game would get Pius in the semifinals. And then on the bottom half, really, I think anybody's game there. I think you have York, Elkhorn, and Norris, who are all 3 capable teams there. Norris will play Hastings, and I'll tell you what, I watched Hastings in the district here at the B5, and they're playing really well. So you never know at state basketball. So it'll be interesting to see how the bottom half of that bracket plays out. I would lean toward maybe I really think York can beat Elkhorn. I think they're poised enough to be able to do that. So it'll be interesting, a York-Norris matchup on Friday. And then I think really Lincoln Pius on the other side of that bracket. And I'd have a tough time, as much as I like Matt Kern, I have a tough time probably picking against Lincoln Pius in that bracket. They're a really well-schooled team, and they do a really nice job. And their 2 losses, of course, one of them is to Lincoln Northeast in Class A, and then I'm trying to remember who their other loss is. I thought maybe it was also a Class A loss, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think Lincoln Pius really probably is a class of the class of Class B, if you will, with their talent that they have on their team.
All right. Well, we'll just keep moving here as we're coming up on about 8 o'clock, and we want to get Coach Behlke from Dundee County Stratton on the line when we hit Class D1. We don't have any C1 schools, but we'll go ahead and pull up the bracket there, Tony, if you want to just run through that quick.
Yeah, we really, as you said, we don't have any teams there. I believe really what you look at there, I think Lincoln Christian, the top 4 schools that I'd probably look at there, Lincoln Christian, Kearney Catholic, Minden, and Pierce would be the ones that I would really look at in the C1 bracket as far as where they would be. Lincoln Christian, a team to me that is much like York in that they don't really play any seniors at all. They're led by a freshman, Chloe Dvorak, who's averaging almost 18 points a game. Their 3 leading scorers are freshmen. Just really interesting where they're at as far as ahead of the curve. I think those girls have been playing since about 3rd or 4th grade. They've all been playing together, and you could really tell. I watched them play Grand Island Central Catholic earlier this year. Norfolk Catholic is a team up north that won a very difficult district that had Pierce and Stanton, and then they beat West Point Beamer, all teams that were in the top 8. So Norfolk Catholic is battle tested. So really almost a free-for-all in C1, if you ask me. I think there's any of about 4 or 5 teams that it wouldn't surprise you. Out west, you would say Minden and Kearney Catholic would be those teams, and then I think you really could look at Lincoln Christian, at Norfolk Catholic, and at Pierce as being any teams that could win the Class C1 championship. So Pierce is the defending champ. You lean on that experience sometimes in a situation like that. And so that'll be interesting. The other one, we tweeted this last week, is Shadron. Shadron is 20-6, but the thing I love about Shadron, their coach, John McClain, at the beginning of this school year, he was a quarterback for Shadron State. So he got that job. He graduated in December, got that job, and it's his first year as coach, and they're 20-6. And, they've just done a really good job out there to beat Ainsworth in the district final. So that'll be interesting to watch how C1 unfolds. And those will all be at Devaney tomorrow then, prior to that prior to that Class B night session.
Okay. Let's move right along, and just texted Coach Behlke at Dundee County, got back to me, so we'll give him a call here in about 5 minutes. We'll get through Class C2, take a quick break, and then go into his interview, and then finish up with D1, D2. Those of you not following or that are tuned into our show and not even watching any other TV or on Twitter, Duke is leading, Tony, 52-15 over Wake Forest. So just had to throw that in there for the Duke fans. As always, we're presented by Cornerstone Bank. Thanks for tuning in here on the show. Class C2, the Sutton Phillies have made their way back to Lincoln, and they're going to be taking on Freeman tomorrow night. And I'll pull up the Class C2 bracket. So
that'll be the 3-6 game, and that'll be really I think that'll be a really good game. The 2 teams play each other in volleyball in the state tournament, so very familiar with each other. I really like Sutton's. I really like the opportunity Sutton has here. To me, I don't know if I'd call it an upset, but that 3-6 game, it's one that will be interesting. And I think that's the 8:45. That's the late game. Am I right, Taylor? At
yes, that is correct.
Okay, so you've got Sutton, nice balanced scoring, team that's played really well. We talked to Coach Smith on Friday night. We also talked to her after they won the conference tournament. They've really responded well after Kellan Weisman tore ACL, their sophomore guard. She tore that ACL about the 3rd game into the season, I believe. But they've kind of done it with balance. They're playing them, just doing the math here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 girls, and they all contribute in their own way. But led by the inside scoring of Savannah Sherman and McKenna Grease, both averaging right around 10 points and 6 rebounds a game. And Grease, who Monica really told me she does so many things. They can move around the wing and play her in the post. And when you look at her stats, it's really interesting. She's 10-6, and then she's got 55 assists. She's got 40 steals. She's got 20 blocks. So she does a lot of different things for Sutton and can be a matchup nightmare. And then Delaney Lemkow, Tiara Raymer, also Alexa Johnson and Sydney Grease are kind of those other key players for Coach Smith, and they're averaging 53 game and only giving up 32, and that's always really been how Sutton has done it. They've always been very good defensively. So it makes me feel old, Taylor. Delaney Lemkow, when I worked at the newspaper in Sutton, Delaney Lemkow was a baby, and I was her next door neighbor. So her older brother Tyler was a freshman when I was at the newspaper there, and so it's really neat to see her playing at the state tournament. She's averaging, she's got over 100 assists on the season, and Coach Smith, when I talked to her, really had great things to say about her because she's really taken on a role that she wasn't expected to take on at the beginning of the season, in that they thought her and Weisman would really split time at point guard and be able to give each other breaks, but she's really had to take on that role of being the point guard kind of the whole game, and she's doing it well. So, 6.5 points, 3 rebounds, averaging about 5 assists per game, and then about another 3 steals. She leads them in steals and assists. So she's done a really good job, and I believe a really good track athlete. I think I think she's a good sprinter, and so Sutton's a team that I think's in pretty good shape there. Yeah. I need to pull that bracket up because I don't know who is the 2-7 game there right before that.
St. Cecilia and St. Pat's. So
sure. So you probably lean St. Cecilia there, and boy, that'd be fun to see that rematch. Sutton got them early in the season, and then of course on the other side of the bracket, there's a pretty good team on the other side of that bracket. I think Crofton has won, I believe the number's 53 in a row, and I think 108 of their last 109 games. Super talented crew over there, and you'd probably they'd probably ask you what you were smoking if you bet against Crofton in the top half of that bracket. So I believe Crofton St. Cecilia was the final last year, and I think St. Cecilia, Sutton, Freeman, any of those teams could advance on the other side of that bracket as well. I think we'd really lean, as would our friends at the Hastings Tribune and KHAS Radio, for a little Sutton St. Cecilia semifinal. That would be, I think that would be a fun game, well attended, and that'd be kind of a neat atmosphere at the Devaney Center if they make that happen. So that kind of gets into C2 a little bit. Again, another field that I think really a heavy favorite there in Crofton. Somebody's going to have to play really well to beat them.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll run the Cornerstone Bank commercial again while we get Coach Behlke of Dundee County Stratton on the line. Just texted him. He's ready to go. So we'll be right back. You're watching Prep Huddle Live here on StriveSports.com.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here. Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
All right, and we are back here on Prep Huddle Live. Thanks for tuning in here on our Girls State Basketball Preview Night. We had Coach Kern of the York Dukes on earlier in the show, and we're just kind of running down the list from Class A, and now we're to Class D1, and we're excited to have Coach Nathan Behlke of the Dundee County Stratton Tigers on the line with us, who I believe you're in Lincoln, right, Coach?
We're in Lincoln eating some supper.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show.
You bet.
Coach, thanks for having us. Hey, walk us through your week and how it's been since the district championship win over Brady. And I assume you guys probably left this morning, and I guess just walk us through how it's been since Friday.
Yeah, well, like I say, I won the district final against Brady, and kind of took the weekend off. Didn't have any basketball Saturday or Sunday, and then we woke up knowing we'd have the morning game here at State. We've had morning practice, every day that we could.
Cool.
Just so get the girls there early, 6:15 a.m. Get some practice, get some shooting in, some conditioning, and I'm actually the FFA advisor, so I had to skip practice one day and kind of miss out on it and go to an FFA contest. Kids up and did that, but that's just part of the job, and we just got plugging away, and we had a pep rally today at school. It's the second time in recent history that we've qualified, so the community's really behind us, obviously, just like any small town. So had a big pep rally there at the school, and left the school about 10:30 Mountain Time this morning. Went to Seward there at Concordia University, had a little practice shoot around, and we're now sitting getting some supper at Lincoln. We're gonna get back to the motel and get to bed early, and hopefully get up and going early in the morning and get going.
All right.
Yeah, you're in that really interesting situation where if you were to do what you wanted to do and play 3 games, they'd all be at 9 o'clock. Do you think that could be an advantage once that you're used to it, just to kind of know what you're doing after day one, hopefully?
That is. I was talking to a couple other coaches who were practicing after us there at Concordia, and they like the 9 a.m. game.
Yeah.
It's 8 a.m. our time, but not a big deal. But they like it because you get up and going, you get to see what's ahead of you, you get to see the team you're going to play right behind you, and then you have the rest of the day to kind of relax, get off your feet, and get prepared for the next day. So I kind of like it. Last year was my first experience at the tournament, so I think we played an afternoon game. But I'm excited about this opportunity. I kind of get up in the morning, get some coffee, get some breakfast from the girls, and I'm going to enjoy this.
Coach, introduce us to your team and maybe some of our viewers who aren't familiar with Dundee County Stratton, but obviously 26-0, and you made it to the C2 tournament last year and played St. Cecilia really close for 4 quarters. And I guess if you just kind of introduce us to your top players. I know you have Aubrey Frederick, obviously your leading scorer, and Nicole Kent, your second leading scorer, but just talk about your team and how they've been playing here recently.
Like you said, Aubrey Frederick, she's our post. She's our tall girl at 5'10", not real tall, but she's our leading scorer. And then you got Nicole Kent. Aubrey's a sophomore. Nicole Kent, she's a junior. She's our second leading scorer. She can stroke it from outside. She can take to the hole and finish her well. She's just a real smart girl. Our point guard, Emily Jones, she's a sophomore. As far as scoring, I'm not real sure where she's sitting. We got a lot of girls kind of score around the same area. But she gets the ball out in transition for us and keeps the floor really well. Another guard we have is Faye Sanford. She's very smart, very quick, a really good defender, and she gets on fire. She can hit the threes, no problem, downtown anytime. So she's a threat. And our final guard is Kaylee Burke. She's a junior also, and she really came on this year. She hit the summer hard and played a lot of ball and really worked on her game. And she's left-handed. So that's one deception, and she's got a really quick first step. So once she gets to that defender's hip, she's gone, and she can take to the hole also. Those are our starters, and then we got one girl coming in off the bench, and Peyton Zarkowski. She's a sophomore. She's 5'9", and she just kind of gets those trash rebounds. She's always in the right spot at the right time, and she always hits those big shots when you need them. So those are our 6 girls, I think, that scored in the triple digits on the season. And we have others that come off the bench, but those are kind of our main players that we count on to do stuff for us.
Talk about, I guess, how you played in the districts. It didn't look like you were pretty focused out there, and I know you play a Brady team who I think had 15 or 16 wins, and you handled them pretty well. So you feel like the girls are kind of locked in and playing as good as they've played all year right now?
Yes, I think so. Our last couple games of the season, our regular season, we're at home and we didn't play real well. I was kind of worried. But then our first time in district, we scored 80-some points. Next game, 79, and then against Brady, we come out. And they had a couple tall girls I thought might kind of bother us. But, I think we spotted them a few points. It was 5-11. We were down the first 2 minutes of the game. And then from there, we just exploded, went on a 17-0 run and took the lead. But, no, the girls are playing wonderful ball this year. You know, a couple of coaches and I were talking about our road games, and 21 of our 26 wins are on the road. We had 5 home games this year.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
You know, being on the road, being away from home, we're used to it, and that's what I think we're playing our best ball.
It's just, yeah, right at home, being in the bus and hanging out together. So
Yeah.
talk about the challenge tomorrow. You've got a team in Humphrey St. Francis who's been there, done that in girls basketball in this state, made it to the state finals last year. What have you seen of them, and what concerns and what things are you guys going to have to do really well to advance in the tournament tomorrow?
Well, obviously, like you said, they've been here, done that. They, you know, played state championship game here, and they're a staple down here. But you know, just watching film, you know, they got a tall girl that runs the floor very well. She moves well without the ball and scores well in transition. And they got a little point guard, shooting guard that, boy, she can shoot from outside. She can drive the hole. So those are the two forces. You got a couple other shooters that like to stroke from outside too. Other than that, they're kind of a mirror image of ourselves. They kind of like to get out and run, and that's where they get majority of their points. So we feel that you know, we can focus on them all you want, and it kind of comes down to we just got to keep doing what we're doing and don't change ourselves. You know, it's what most coaches shoot for, and we feel we get it out and run it and get into our offense. That we like how we do things, and if we don't throw the ball away and be not smart with the ball, you know, I just kind of like our chances tomorrow.
Coach, it's a really interesting field. You got you can't say you didn't deserve it if you won it this weekend. The top 8 teams in the point standings are all in Lincoln. So it's a field that really anybody probably feels they have a chance to win. Have you guys looked ahead at any of the other opponents, or have you been completely locked in on St. Francis at this point?
Well, as far as scouting, I've been completely locked in. I got film on other teams, but I don't want to get the cart too far in front of the horse, you know. That's an old cliche, but I do have film, but I just kind of want to take it one game at a time. Don't jinx myself. I'm a pretty superstitious dude, a really superstitious dude, so, you know, I don't do that. But, you know, you said it's the top 8 teams and the power points are here, and everybody's got over 20 wins, and it's whoever puts 3 games together in this stretch of the next few days is going to win it.
All right. Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us. I'm looking forward to watching your team play tomorrow and be helping out with the call on your Strive station. So I'm really looking forward to watching you play, and we hope you get some rest tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, all right. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks to Coach Nathan Behlke of the Dundee County Stratton Tigers there as they're getting ready for that 9 a.m. game tomorrow morning. That will be at Lincoln Southwest, and we'll be, as Tony said, calling that game. Kellan, who we just got a text from, a UNL student, will be on the call with Tony tomorrow. I believe. Tony, is that right? You gonna?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a run. I'm gonna try to stay out of Kellan's way.
Okay, cool. So so that should be fun, and looking forward to that game, covering that in the morning, bright and early. Let's go ahead and run right into Class D2, and I've got the bracket if you want to, unless you wanted to touch on D1 at all yet, Tony.
Well, I just wanted to, obviously, if people get on our Strive Sports site, we've got a nice preview of Fullerton and their wild card opportunity that they have. They'll be playing in the 4-5 game against Blue Hill. A really nice year for Coach Stacy Kramer, another young team. You know, we have Dundee County Stratton does not start a senior. Fullerton does not start a senior. And Friend, who's also in this D1 field as the 8 seed, playing O'Neill St. Mary's, some other leading scorer as a freshman. So a lot of young talent for our 3 Strive schools who are in the D1 field. And that should be really fun for us to watch. Hopefully some of these teams advance. But Fullerton with a really tough draw, I think, in Blue Hill. They'll play a team who has the leading scorer in the D1 field, and Mackenzie Willicott. shot, and Coach Kramer was concerned with what she can do. A 5'10", 5'11" player who can get outside and score a little bit. So I think that could be the best game of the first round. Just looking at the two teams, Fullerton, a team that really wants to grind you out, win it with defense, and try to survive there. And then Friend, obviously defending state champion in the class, and they had one Mankey graduate, and they brought in a freshman to lead them in scoring, and so they beat St. Francis in the final last year, but a really tough draw with them. They'll get O'Neill St. Mary's, and people see O'Neill St. Mary's at, I think, 22-2. Don't let that deceive you. In my eyes, they're undefeated. They're as good as Dundee County Stratton. I think that'd be the final I'd prefer to see. St. Mary's 2 losses are to Crofton and Pierce. We've talked about both of those teams today, who are in the C1 and C2 field. So think of St. Mary's as a D1 team who really is undefeated. So I mean, I think that D1 field, as we discussed, it's the top 8 teams, and it'll be a really good tournament, I think.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump right into Class D2, Tony, if that's okay. I've got the bracket pulled up here, and then we're going to have Kellan, who will be helping out with some broadcasts. He just got out of class, and bring him on the show real quick, and we'll wrap things up.
Okay. Well, yeah, in D2, another situation where every team has 20 wins. Very, very rare in D2. I mean, most of the time you're playing up when you're a D2 school. So you've got 8 teams with 20 wins. You have the top 8 teams in the PowerPoint standings in the field. So it's going to be a really good field there as well. I think the prohibitive favorite is Fall City Sacred Heart. They've not lost to a D2 school this year. They have 2 losses, one to Freeman, who's in the C2 field, one to Friend, which I believe that's a loss they avenged. So they beat Hampton 53-23 in a district final at Norris. And Hampton is in the field. How's this for a draw? Hampton gets number 1 Fall City Sacred Heart in the district, and then they get 5-time consecutive finalist Wynot in the first round. So it's a tall order for Coach Labree's team. Wynot is 20-5. Hampton is 20-4. Wynot has not lost a D2 game this year. I will tell you though, they put their pants on one leg at a time. They beat Stewart. I believe there was a 1-point game that they beat Stewart in the district final. So there's no reason to think that anybody couldn't win a couple games in this D2 field. I think even Hampton's conference mate Giltner has got a draw that they probably think is favorable with Sandhills Thedford, and then that 4-5 game with Mullen and Stewart will probably be a pretty good game as well. Stewart's a team that came down to Grand Island to Central Catholic's holiday tournament and beat Central Catholic and Fullerton to win that holiday tournament. So they're a talented bunch as well. That D2 field is got some very talented players. You get a little bit deeper look into Hampton. Tristan Mason's their leading scorer at 14.2 points a game. She averages 5 rebounds. She's averaging a little over 3 assists, a little over 4 steals a game. She does a little bit of everything. Really nice player for Coach Labree. And then kind of their senior glue girls are Brittany Dozy, who's a 10-point per game scorer, averages 5 rebounds. She's second on the team in rebounds. And Cammie Rares, who's averaging 6 points and 4 rebounds. They've done a great job of leading that team throughout the season there, and of course the Hawks are a little close to my heart, obviously. So their first appearance at state since 1990. When my dad was coach and me and my brother were on the sidelines, student managing that game, and Hampton won a state championship in 1990, and it's really interesting to look back at the parallels to some things that could happen there. Of course, that was pre-wild card, but Hampton beat somebody they shouldn't. I don't think anybody gave them the chance to beat Lawrence, who was undefeated and defending state champions, which is what Wynot is. They're defending state champions. And then you look maybe down the road, the other thing Hampton had to do that year was beat a really good conference team 3 times. They had to beat Benedict in the regular season, in the conference tournament, in the district final to get to state, and that was they really had 2 games at state that were easier than that district final. And if you look ahead, if Hampton were to beat Wynot, you look at maybe them playing Giltner, who that'd be a 3rd time that they'd have to beat them. So there are some parallels there. It's kind of interesting to look at, and it'll be interesting. We'll go down there and watch and see some old friends tomorrow night, and I'm kind of really looking forward to seeing what they can do. And they've already represented the community and the school well, and this is just kind of a icing on the cake kind of deal for those girls. Really proud of what they've done, and they're young too. Again, just 2 seniors. So.
All right. Well, let's. We're going to take just a quick break. We're running a long show, but a lot of information. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I forgot this day has been so crazy. We kind of launched a new little website over the night, or got it installed last night, and pretty excited about some of the new formats we can publish out there. A lot of different photo type things. So go ahead and check that out, or if you're on our site. Poke around a little bit and check out some of the articles. Tony wrote a great article like we talked about. It's called Second Chances, featuring Millard West and Fullerton. And then we just put live our kind of 7 girls Strive schools, which is on the latest articles down below, kind of highlighting those schools and top scores, some links to articles, radio, audio links. So it'll be good. I'm going to cut off here just a little bit. We'll give Kellan a call and wrap things up. Thanks for tuning in here to Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. And we are back here. Thanks again for tuning in here on StriveSports.com on Prep Huddle Live, and we're excited to have Kellan. And Kellan, I apologize, pronounce your last name for everyone.
Heavican.
All right, and Kellan is a UNL broadcasting major and has been helping us out. You may have heard him on the Central Conference tournament calls with his buddy Tommy, and Kellan's going to be helping us this weekend at the state girls state tournament, doing some calls, and the Dundee County game in the morning, and Fullerton in the afternoon, and heading on to York. You got a full day, Kellan.
We do, but we're excited to have a full day. It's going to be exciting tomorrow, and hopefully, the teams that we'll be calling for can make it another day into Friday.
Absolutely.
Kellan, I know you've been doing your homework, and you talked to some coaches. I wanted to just run through a couple games that you'll be calling, and maybe some that are exciting for you. In particular, you're probably more of a guy who could tell us about York than even Taylor or I. I think you've probably seen him 4 or 5 times this year. Talk to us about the Dukes. A young team, no seniors. What is it that has jumped out at you about why they're so successful this year?
Well, first of all, I think it goes without saying, Matt Kern has done an absolutely phenomenal job, I think, in my opinion, at coaching York. And one thing I know when I was getting prepped really for districts and now for the state tournament, he goes for his 100th victory at York on tomorrow night. So I think that's kind of,
cool,
in a nutshell, kind of what Matt Kern's been able to do in turning around that program and bringing it to maybe what I don't think they're quite where Seward's been, and Seward and Northwest have been in the past, but I think they're well on their way to doing that. I think this year's the first part of it. I mean, even last year, this year, but you've got the returners they'll come back next year. Emma Grenfell and Jordan Stearns. Grenfell, she's the tempo setter, if you will, for Dukes. She's the one that's going to push the ball. Stearns is the presence inside for him, and then the Hansen sisters both can really knock down triples. And I think it's going to be important in tomorrow night's matchup to be able to knock down some triples, because Tommy and I actually had the chance to call Elkhorn and Schuyler way back in January, and so we have seen Elkhorn play, and Elkhorn's going to be big inside, and so I think it's going to be important. York, that's one of the things they kind of lack, is a little bit of it inside. They do have Haley Burke, which I believe is around 6 foot, so that'll help with the attack. But I also think, York's good. They want to accept the challenge, and they play hard. Those are the two things credit York, is maybe they're not there experience-wise, but I think when you go into that side of the conversation, experience, I don't think you have to talk about experience anymore because, and you could say, well, maybe they're not playing the best. They did fall to Beatrice at the end of the regular season. Well, but you could also say that's their loss. They got it out of the way. They did beat Beatrice again. They lost to Elkhorn earlier this season. They got a chance to knock them off in the state tournament. And so I think, they show great effort from the opening whistle to the final buzzer. So I think York's got a very solid chance at winning tonight, and I think, or not tonight rather, but tomorrow night. And I think if they do what Coach Kern, when him and I talked last night, they just have to play their basketball. They can't, try to shift off and play towards what Elkhorn wants. But if they play their type of basketball tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a nice outcome for the Dukes.
Excellent stuff. The next game I wanted to go to is I believe is Dundee County Stratton and Humphrey St. Francis, a game where we'll get to meet in about 12 hours and start watching warm-ups, I guess. So that should be pretty fun. But if you're like me and you looked at what Dundee County Stratton has done offensively, I love a team in a tournament setting that isn't afraid to score, and they're one of those teams. Are you as excited to see this team get up and down the floor as I am just looking at their stats?
Oh yeah, I'm extremely excited. They're 27-0 coming into the game, or not 27, 26-0, and to be a team that comes in the first round of the state tournament undefeated is an accomplishment nonetheless. But I'm really excited for the matchup in itself. When you start dissecting this, and the Flyers, who, if you look at their roster here, if I give me a second to pull it up, Humphrey St. Francis is fairly big inside. The Flyers are, they've got 2'6" girls, a 5'9", a 6'1", and then so I think it's gonna be fun. An offensive, kind of shootout is what we might get. But I said it to talking to you earlier today, Tony. St. Francis, in about every sport we have seen, they are a brand name for being in the state tournament. So they know what it's like to be in the state tournament. They were state runner-ups last year. Dundee County Stratton, they fell in the first round. It was actually their first state tournament appearance since they consolidated. So they have been there before, and it looks like they're fairly young too. And so that's the exciting part, is they're young as well. We're gonna be featuring 3 teams that are very, very young and that are in the state tournament that you're probably going to see them in again next year.
Yep. And then you've got, I believe you're on the call for Fullerton and Blue Hill, and doing your prep there, you can see Fullerton really is going to play about 5 girls, and they're very young. They lost. They beat St. Francis twice already this year, but lost to them in the sub-district final. And then they've got to figure out a way to slow down the top scorer in the D2 field, and Mackenzie Willicott for Blue Hill. So that, I think, could be really maybe the best game of Thursday in that D1 bracket. That should be a fun one as well.
Yeah, and I think here's the okay. So we talked about, you think about, okay, teams that are in the state tournament and not just in the state tournament, but in tournaments in all levels. If you want to go out and win it, you got to be playing your best basketball. You've got to be coming on a 7 or 8, 9 game win streak. And on one side you've got Blue Hill, who to my math has won 18 straight. They're 22-2 and have won 18 straight games. Yep. However, if you look on the flip side to Fullerton, who lost in sub-districts, as you said, to St. Francis, it's really interesting because both wild cards came out of the same sub-district, with St. Francis getting one and Fullerton getting the other, and Howell Dodge was the one who won that district.
Yep.
But one of the things, I think when I was talking to Stacy Kramer last night over the telephone, it caught me, I think, in an interesting way, as she said that there was a couple of things. She said they've been on all sides of the game. They've won big, they've lost big, they've won close, they've lost close. So they know what all these feelings are like. And then she's also said in their time off, they got back to basics. basics. So instead of, looking at film, breaking things down and going after and on this tough grind, they were able to take, step back and say, okay, we went back to basics. We did some conditioning things, and we worked on the fundamentals. We didn't focus on game plans, and I think that might be a bigger key in this matchup than what most people are going to realize, that maybe for Fullerton, losing in the first round of sub-districts, or excuse me, not the first round, but the sub-district finals, it actually might play out to Fullerton's hands better than what we all think.
Yep. Awesome stuff, Kellan. I think, we've hit an hour here, Taylor. See what we're going to be like on TV one of these days. So, Kellan, I look forward to being with you tomorrow for that Dundee County Stratton game, and look forward to listening to you. Hopefully for 3 days we get to follow some Strive teams here all the way to state championship. Thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having me, guys, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow from Southwest.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Kellan.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right. See ya. And we'll if those of you that are watching are able, maybe you're working tomorrow, don't really follow Dundee County or Fullerton, some of you York folks, I know York's on spring break, or whoever that have those late games, in general, any fans, please dial up the Dundee County Stratton Strive page at 8:45 a.m. tomorrow, as Kellan will be dropping some pretty cool pregame stuff that he put together, and looking forward to that. The kid's got a lot of talent, and we're excited to kind of have him as part of our little team here, and as we are building, and we appreciate all the support from everyone, the tweets and the comments and the coaches that we're getting to get to know, and the schools. It's been a blast. I know, Tony, you've been enjoying it as well.
Yep, absolutely. It's been fun, and I don't know if we'll have any players watching this right now, or if they might wake up in the morning and watch this, but enjoy this time. I mean, this is these are things this isn't the greatest thing that ever happened in your life. I mean, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, but the state tournament is one of those things where you remember it for a long time, and it can shape things you do down the road. I mean, it's really a fun time to enjoy, to play as hard as you can. You have your town shut down for this stuff. I mean, it's a big deal, and it's fun to be a part of, and it's worth enjoying and savoring every second of it. So I hope our kids and our coaches that we're following are all able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we had a great show tonight. Coach Kern, Coach Behlke, and then Kellan. A lot of stuff to break down. You can, as always, watch the recording, and we've got that embedded, all the previous shows on the new site now. You can check scores. We'll be updating that via Score Stream tomorrow. Our tweets, follow us on Twitter at Strive Sports. We'll be shooting video, photos, kind of everything for all of the Strive schools, and then the hashtag NEBPreps is on the homepage now too. Poke around there, and some great articles to catch up on. And if you got any questions or comments, as always, shoot us a tweet at Strive Sports, and we'll point you in the right direction so you can follow your teams. So thanks, Tony. And
thanks, Taylor. See you in a little bit, huh?
Yeah, we'll head to bed. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in here on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com.